Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Freedom Radio Hour. I'm your host, DJ Adam Cruz, and I'm here with my fantastic host right here,
Eddie Nicholas. What up, beautiful people, and welcome to another fantabulous episode of the Freedom Radio Hour. DWildMusicRadio.com and all of the wonderful other things that this station does. What's up, Mr. Cruz? What are we going to talk about today?
Well, today it's all about you, Mr. Nicholas.
All about moi. What did I do?
Well, first, let us take a moment to let our listeners and our viewers know that we're here on Capital Radio 91.6 FM, bringing you the Freedom Radio Hour. Not only with that fantastic music, but we're here to be your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe. All right, we're jumping right out in front. Normally, we are chock full of information in terms of what's happening in the music business game around the globe, or specifically around the United States, where we're based out of. But today is a very special episode because the entire episode is dedicated to Mr. Eddie Nicholas. Why do you say that?
Tell us why.
Well, I have to tell you, today and throughout the month and throughout the year, we are celebrating two milestones. One is the 10-year anniversary of Mixtape Sessions. That's the Mixtape Sessions is the label that I co-founded with my sister Flora. And what we did on February 28, 2008 is release a 4-track EP on my sister Flora called the Overcome EP. And that was sort of the beginning of a long, beautiful journey of 10 years worth of good music. Later on, we released the Dulce Melodia album, which is one of the things back here. I don't know if you could see it in the frame, but I'll post it there so you can see what the visual looks like. At any rate, so lots of good work came out of that. Also, 3 of my own solo albums came through the label, and worked with Josh Milan, the Black Electronica EP, Manchild Black, Gerardo, a lot of beautiful artists, and I'm really grateful, and I want to take this time to thank everybody who's ever supported, listened to, came through a party or an event, or checked out the label, or share the good news or the good work that we were doing. So thank you for that. And here's to 10, 20 more years of that, right? Yeah. So
Congratulations, Mixtape Session.
Thank you. And so as it turns out, Mixtape Session in more recent times has released more new singles. I'm working on my 4th album, releasing 2 singles already from there, Healing and Todo Mi Corazón. That's Spanish for With All of My Heart. Following those 2 releases, we released Jacqueline Graham's Jacqueline EP. It's 2 songs, You Showed Me Your Love and Inside My Head. Fantastic project. That's available to stream everywhere. Search out Jacqueline Graham or visit mixtapesessions.com. But this is my drum roll. To chop off the very last day of 2017, New Year's Eve, we released the long-awaited, long-anticipated 16-track debut LP of Mr. Eddie Nicholas here, entitled Do You Wanna Dance? First of all, mad props for finally releasing the project.
Long process.
So I have to jump right in.
You just jump right in.
So while we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Mixtape Sessions, the record label, we are also celebrating the worldwide release of the Do You Wanna Dance LP, because we have planned to release it on the very same day as the anniversary. So we have a lot to celebrate and talk about. Let's jump right in. I want to know that people may be aware, and are usually aware, that you've been around for a while, and you've been working with other groups before you really came out and did your own thing with only your name, Eddie Nicholas, in the title. You had other names that you released music on, like with Strictly Rhythm, when you released You Make Me Carry On. That was Deck Music. Tell everybody what the Deck, D-E-K Music, what did that stand for?
Deck Music stand for the people in the group. Damon, Eddie, and Carla.
Right.
So it was Damon Ford, Eddie Nicholas, and Carla Brown.
And so the 3 of you were Deck Music, and the Strictly Rhythm release, that if you look through their catalog in the late 90s.
1995.
Mid-90s. The record You Make Me Carry On was released. But you had also done background with 95 North, Philip Ramirez, and others, based mostly out of the D.C., Virginia area. But fast forwarding time, you really got to hone in on your skills as a lead vocalist. No more were you attached with anyone else, and you really came into your own. What was the decision to come out as Eddie Nicholas Nicholas and not say another Deck Music release or what have you. What was that first release under your own name, and what was that feeling like?
The first release under my own name was Groovin'. And that came out under Slag Records with Glenn Thornton.
Shout out to Slag Records.
Yes, indeed. So that was my very first release with my name on it.
Right.
So to see that it was tremendous, because it was like, well, it's about time. Because a lot of things had featuring, and of course with all the background work that I did.
Okay, pause. What Eddie's referring to is oftentimes when you release product, you are part of a number of other people on the project, in which case your name may not appear, or if it does, it's featuring something and Eddie Nicholas. So that's what you're referring to, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, continue.
So, with that, and believe it or not, I originally did Groovin' with the boys from Italy. Harley and Muscle.
Yes.
So that really was the start of that song, and we were at the Winter Music Conference, and Glenn wanted to pick that song up. So things didn't work out that way, and we ended up going back and re-recording it and finally releasing it. So I was very, very grateful for that. And that
song has had a few versions, lots of remixes and stuff. So I mentioned that because if you're an artist and you're stepping out on your own, one thing you could take away from Eddie's story is that what he did, not only is he stepped out on his own, but he also over the years really took that project and allowed it to have legs by offering remixes and reinterpretations of the song. So oftentimes we think when we release something, that's it. But Eddie, I think, has proved positive that you could give life to a song if you feel it passionately enough over the years, no matter what. Right? Let's take a break.
Yes,
when
indeed.
we come back, let's break down more about Eddie Nicholas and other tricks of the trade that you, if you're an artist or a producer or a DJ or promoter, might want to jot down and take for yourself right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan. Thank you for keeping me, because I'll talk.
It's all good. Mixtape Sessions is proud to present singer, songwriter, actor, and Mixtape Sessions recording artist Jacqueline Graham. Produced by DJ and label head Adam Cruz, the Jacqueline plea includes Inside My Head and You Showed Me Your Love. Check out Jacqueline Graham and the Jacqueline EP, available to stream everywhere now. Mixtape Sessions, music for the people.
Freedom Radio Hour. Live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM.
And we're back live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM and on the web at dwowmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour, your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe. I'm sitting here with my fantastic and most celebrated artist right now, Mr. Eddie Nicholas.
Oh, please, you make me blush. Most celebrated.
So we have to jump right back in. So Eddie, before we broke, was talking about what it meant to step out on his own. In short, when he first started out, he was with other groups doing background initially and then part of a collective. And then as he crossed over to the new millennium, thanks in part to Harley and Muscle and Glenn Thornton of Slag Records, he had his first release, Groovin' on Slag Records. That song, what's really smart, I always loved about Groovin', Eddie, was the fact that you had so many versions and remixes of the song because you refused to allow that song to not really have its proper shine. And I think I really always admire that Groovin' story because it really gave me an indication of you as a character and an advocate for your own artistry. Would you agree?
Well, you have to be an advocate for your own artistry because if you're not, who's going to be?
Exactly.
If you're not out there touting and shouting to the high heavens, what you do, but of course with class,
yes,
and with
of course,
grace, and touting it, nobody's going to pay attention.
So when we're talking about the Do You Want to Dance LP, which is available everywhere now, search out Eddie Nicholas. I love that you included the Harley and Muscle version of Groovin', and as well as a newer version that I produced. And that was something that was the quick story about that version of Groovin' was back in the Think Soul days, which is a party here in the New Jersey area. It was one of my first productions that another label sort of picked up. And so that was on Slag. And it really was I didn't think I had all of the vocals in time, right? So what I ended up doing was my own like sort of spin on it, and I had little dabs of the sort of dubbed out versions of your vocals. I remember that. But at any rate, when Glenn came to the office, I was working at a disco label, West End.
Oh, that was a quick drop off.
Yeah, it was a quick drop. He was on his way to the mastering studio. He came by the office to pick up.
Pickup.
Yeah, and I had finished the record in my house, but I used like a server to upload the file onto a server. And so when I get to the office, the server, it hadn't fully sent everything. And I was like, oh my God. So I gave Glenn what I had. So what you have on vinyl, that vinyl release, was that version that didn't have all of the vocals that I added. But later on, I noticed that Eddie, when he would perform live and he would use my version, he was adding like new lyrics and stuff to it. And so this, again, back to this grooving story, was this great way in which you took the song and you gave it new life by offering a totally different set of lyrics. Where did that come from? Why didn't you just keep singing the same lyrics that you had originally done with Harley and Muscle?
Well, you know, like many a singer, especially many a blues singer, we have a tendency, we forget our words.
You forget your words. Okay.
So in doing so, you have to think quick. And I always treasure myself as being a quick freestylist.
Okay.
So that's how the reinvention of grooving came along. I just used some of the original lyrics from what I originally sung and tuned it to make the song more, I guess you want to say, spiritual, related, in, you know, in an uplifting way. But then again, your beat with that tropical little flavor just definitely called for some boom.
Gotcha. So you kind of you're called to do it based on what you're hearing sometimes.
You know,
and
exactly. You know, when I hear it, you know, words just automatically flow into my head and I just come out singing.
I love that. And I love it also speaks to like your ability to improvise and be innovative. And you do that not just with a live performance, but Eddie, you do that with the people that you work around or remixers. Part of the charm about your album is that you work with like all kinds of producers, South Africa, around the globe, here. And I always wondered, like, are these folks that you knew around the years, or how did you come to know many of the producers that are from far away, certainly far away from you are, from where you are? How did you get to know them, and why include them?
Social media.
Social media.
Social media and the power of networking and, you know, just people seeing that what you're putting out is good work and them wanting to be a part of what you do and me wanting to be a part of what they do and just making a conglomeration, because music is all about sounds, lyrics, words, everything that we can put together to create something that is pleasing to someone's ears. So all of those collaborations were emails, Facebook messages, you know, a lot of it your help and making sure Glenn Thornton's help in getting those pieces all around the world. So, you know, it's just a collective.
So the takeaway here, I think, is very important. So if you're an artist like Eddie and you're putting an album together, part of it is to realize the power that you've had all along in networking, both personally in your face and virtually, by using social media and email and other ways to gauge if new producers out there that you might be willing to work with. In Eddie's case, he was always receptive to that. So he had tracks and different grooves to choose from when it came to not just albums, but really anything he ever wanted to work on. So a big takeaway with you is use the power of social media to get you into the presence of the people that you want to work with. And it could simply be an introduction virtually, meaning send a private message and maybe send a snippet of something you're working on. Hey, do you like this sound? Oftentimes that would catch Eddie's ear, and that would begin a relationship virtually, because many times you haven't even met these producers, even to this day.
To this day, I have not met many of them. Dario Martino is one who I absolutely love.
Out of Switzerland, because, you know, you send him something, you get it back, and it's amazing. Well, let's take a break. Let's talk more about this and a checklist that I want Eddie to consider and stuff that he's already doing. I want to mention to you as well, right here on the Freedom Radio Hour.
91.6 FM, DWildMusicRadio.com.
Singer, songwriter, performer, and host Eddie Nicholas debuts his fantastic new album. Released in conjunction with mixtape sessions and Deck Music imprint, Eddie brings you a 16-track album full of fantastic jams upon jams, perfect for any dance floor. The album includes records like Fall in Love, Goomba, and Reuben. Check out EddieNicholas.com and TrackSource for his brand new LP.
Freedom Radio Hour.
And we're back live on Capital Radio 91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, and on the web at dwildmusicradio.com. You're deep in the zone right here on the Freedom Radio Hour. We're your number one source for music business news and trends from around the globe. On this very special episode, we're taking a break from our usual talk about music business news, and we're talking about the other side. We're talking about artist preparation and all that it entails to put together your first album. So if you are contemplating a first book, a first album, a first fashion line, a first set of poems or poetry pieces, get yourself together and get some notes together. Part of the reason why I wanted to interview you, Eddie, is not only to celebrate this wonderful album, but to also talk about some of the tricks that you are sharing, little morsels of knowledge you just by sharing, someone else out there could take and apply to their own craft. In particular, I wanted to talk about the power of windowing and what we have now with this release and what happens after that. So windowing, for those that don't know, is to take a release and have it available, say, through, in this case, what we did was we have EddieNicholas.com point to his Bandcamp page. That was the first start. That was the first window. And so that came out first, December 31st, New Year's Eve, right? Following that, we had a February release for the, or maybe later in January, forget the date, but either way, we waited a certain set of time, and then we released the project on what we thought was the biggest way we can gauge the audience. For our world, TrackSource is a great digital website for the kind of dance music that we're a part of. So we chose that as a second step, window number 2. Now, February 28th represents window number 3. That's the worldwide release. Why do we say that? Because it means that we're offering streaming on all of the major outfits that we often cover on the show, like Spotify, YouTube, Tidal, iTunes, Apple Music. All of them have the project available. The Do You Want to Dance LP is now streamable on all of those outfits. And I know that you're no stranger to being an artist that's available on streaming services. But now that you've done this and you've put together this project and it's now out 3 times, in other words, now begins the toughest part. The hustle. Yes. So let's talk about that hustle.
And you know, I can't even, put it any better. It's a hustle. Because again, when you asked about one promoting their music, you got to tout your own music.
Exactly.
So after the windowing, it comes time to get on the telephone, get on the internet, get on that email, and to start reaching out for places where you can actually put your material out for people to come and support. So in my case, I've already done a series of articles.
Good.
I'm waiting for one to come out with Muema from Bounce FM.
Great.
That's usually launching his internet site. Also a series of radio programs. I have some set up, and more on its way.
Let's take a quick pause on that. I noticed that in this case, what we're talking about is what we say off camera. Oftentimes we divide things into 3 categories. Now that the project's out, you and artists want to jot things down and put them in 3 buckets. What are those 3 buckets? One bucket is any possible interview, be it a radio, website, interview where you can engage with someone and use that publication to promote what you're doing. That's bucket number 1. Bucket number 2 are covering. Can someone cover your album? In other words, can it be reviewed on a certain publication? Any sort of reviews go in bucket number 2. Bucket number 3 are any gig opportunities. Is there a summer festival? Is there a gathering of a local artist? Is there an open mic? Is there a opportunity for me, artist, to do my own party? All of those things come into bucket number 3. So what Eddie is starting to break down already is his usage of those first 2 buckets right now. And then you have been doing over the years, have not just been an artist. This is the other big thing. You're not just an artist, you're also a host. You cook, cater. You are also sought after and hired very heavily in the summertime to host large gathering crowds, large populations of music lovers, where you're hosting festivals, outdoor festivals, mostly throughout the summer. That is a huge win, I think, for you, because most other artists really aren't thinking enough about the different dimensions that comprise a portfolio of creative work. And I always have been impressed by you, by your ability to do that. So that third bucket is the gig stuff coming up. So I love to talk about this part.
And not only that, it's about branding yourself.
Yes.
It's about what else can I do, because you always have to look at it. Something is not working here. What can I do over here that can bring what's not working here into what's working here, and to bring it all together?
And to bring that point home, Freedom Radio Hour, in part, was to bring attention to our own music and our own creations by talking about something that's not our music, but it's very related, music business. So in part, Freedom Radio Hour launched as an opportunity so that you guys can see our faces a little bit more regularly, and we have an opportunity to keep ourselves in the public eye, so to speak, without having to release music all the time, because I know, like Eddie, we create as we feel it. We're not regimented like that.
That's why it took my album so long.
Yeah, that is a good point. Is that really why it took so long?
You know, as an artist, we're all temperamental, so we got to make sure that what we put out is reflective of who we are.
Right.
So it was just a matter of me really feeling comfortable, and also the push of good people such as yourself, Glenn Thornton, Rashmere Mantree, the many people that I have worked with in hosting and performing, to get behind that, so that you know, though, I do have something that is worth something.
Right.
And I have something that I can say. And again, with the Do You Want to Dance LP, it's about people intertwining. Not so much physically dancing, but the dance of life.
Yes.
And that's what I talk about when I make reference to Do You Want to Dance. So pick up my LP.
Definitely. I love that.
Check it out, www.eddienicholas.com. That's my webpage. But again, it's available worldwide.
Yes.
And I got to give you mad props, because again, without this gentleman, Mr. Adam Cruz, there would not be a Do You Want to Dance LP. Sometimes as an artist, you have to have someone that is constantly putting their foot up your behind to make you get things done. So I appreciate you, my brother, and I thank you. Let's conquer the world. Mixtape sessions, 10 years, and I'm humbled and honored to be a part of that.
I feel the same way about you. I did the last takeaway. I think Eddie sort of minimized a bit, but I want to brag about him a bit more before we break. Is that if you notice in what his answer really gave a hint to, is if you are out there and you're creating something, a book, a fashion line, an album, or your very first song, oftentimes we get blocked, or we reach a point where there's an obstacle that we'll need to either jump over, move around, walk around, move it out of the way, whatever we need to do to minimize it so that you're able to walk over it and continue on to completing the project. Part of why the album is so great is that it's a completed thought all the way through, of all these years of talking about these themes of love and relationships and surpassing your obstacles. Eddie's finally got to completion, and I think what you're saying is that you used the support system around you and the producers around you to kind of push you a bit, to remind you to remember yourself and your creative project, which was this album. My big thing, though, is I think we often think of things as bucket list items, and certainly albums fall under those categories oftentimes, but I want you and others, when they finish their work, to look at it more like a snapshot of emotional time. It's not that bucket list that now you can rest on your
No, we got to press on,
and
you got to keep on pressing on and keep on moving and keep on creating.
That's it. And that's why in the beginning of this new year, Eddie was already hard at work on a new song, and we've got more coming. That's all the time we have. I want to just make sure that you guys mention and check out Eddie Nicholas. Share the good work that we're all doing here at Mixtape Sessions, and definitely check out the website, our free app. You know, all our episodes are there. Even the other shows that we do on Capital Radio, like the Mixtape Sessions Masterclass, that's also available for free on the Freedom Radio Hour app, along with merchandise and YouTube videos, etc., podcasts. So check it all out for free. Search out the Freedom Radio Hour with Android and iPhone users. And of course, check out the project.
And we look forward to you giving us feedback on everything. Mixtape sessions, Freedom Radio Hour, my site, Adam's site, all the music that we do. So do check us out.
Definitely. And thanks for sharing all that knowledge. That was wonderful.
Please. He had to keep me in check because I'm a talker.
Well, have a great weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time.
91.6 FM, the Heartbeat of Sudan, DWildMusicRadio.com, and the FreedomRadioHour.com.
Yes.
Peace and love. Check
I have
you out
one
later.
question, though. One question. Do you want to dance?
Do you want to dance? You got that?